Good morning, Year 8. Welcome to today's lesson. We are doing a bit of a review this morning on data. First and foremost, we're going to be looking at our averages like we did last term. So we're making sure that we remember what the mean represents, what the mode represents, what the median represents, and of course, what the range is. We'll also be revising the stem and leaf plot. And lastly, but not least, we'll be looking at the frequency distribution table, or just a frequency table. Okay, so very briefly, hopefully you remember, particularly looking through those videos you have just watched, that the mean is where, well, it's kind of what these are all types of averages. It's what we recognize as the average, the most regular average. And that's looking at adding all the numbers and then dividing it by the number of scores. Okay, so for example, if we had 2, 1, 2, and 3, we would simply add them together and do 2 plus 1 is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we would divide it by 4 to get an average of 2, or a mean of 2. Okay, so again, you add all the scores together, and then you divide them by how many scores there are. The mode is the most common. Okay, now I always look at this by the first two letters, MO in mode and MO in most. So most common or most occurring. So in that above example that I used, 2 would be the mode. It's the most common number. It occurred twice. Okay, the next one we have is the median. The median is the middle score, or the middle number when in order. And occasionally you might have two middle numbers, and if you have two middle numbers, we just add them together and divide by 2. That's finding the average or finding the mean of those two numbers. Okay, and then the last one we've got is the range, which hopefully you remember is the highest score minus the lowest score. So again, in the above example, the highest score was 3, the lowest score was 1, so it would have been 3 take away 1, which is 2. Now, what I want you to make sure of whilst I'm going through these, can you ensure that you copy this data down, these notes down into your book, to make sure that you have everything that I'm writing down. Okay, secondly, that's number 1. We've got our stem and leaf plot. Hopefully you remember the stem and leaf plot looks like this, okay, where we have the stem on the left hand side and the leaf or the leaves on the right hand side. And the stem is what we refer to basically as the tens unit. So for example, might have 0, 1, 2. If we had numbers here, 5, 6, 2, 3, 0, 0, 9, what these numbers would represent, they'd be 5 and they'd be 6, because 0, 5 is 5. The next ones would represent 12 and then 13. And the last one would represent 20, 20, and 29. So you can see that the numbers are joined together to make the other number. And occasionally we might have even 12, for example, and 1, which would make 1, 2, 1. Alrighty. Okay. Now, of course, you can be asked questions upon that about the mean, the mode, the median, the range, using that type of graph. And the last one that we're going to look at today is reminding ourselves about our frequency distribution table, where we might have in here things like our score, we might have our frequency, and we might have our FX table. And those go together to compile our table. We might have a score of 1, we might have a frequency of 5, which means if I have 5 lots of 1s, they're apt to give 5, where the FX means the score times the frequency, or the frequency times the score. Okay, so there are 3 questions that we're going to be going through this morning. Okay, so once you've got those down, press play and let's continue. Okay, example 1. Using the data below, find the mean, the median, the mode, and the range. Now what I want you to do is to pause the video now and have a go at these 4 questions. Make sure you write them down in your book and then press play to see if you got them right. Welcome back. So hopefully the mean, you added these numbers together. So 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 6 is 13, 14, 15, 21, 27, 34, 42, 52. That means we have 52 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 52 divided by 9. Now that number gives me, if I put it in my calculator, 5.7777 recurring, which we can say is either 5.7 with a little recurring symbol above, or to 1 decimal place, we could say 5.8. Remembering that if we're rounding the number, the 7, the first decimal place, the next 7 tells me that he rounds up to an 8, because it's at 5 and above. Okay, so 5.8, and 5.8 looks about right because it would sit in the middle of these numbers. Now, the next part, I'm hoping you remembered that if we're finding the median, that these numbers must be in order from smallest to highest, and currently they're not. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write the numbers down from smallest to highest. So the first one is a 2. The next one is going to be a 3. The next one is going to be a 4. Now, notice each time when I'm putting these numbers down, I'm crossing them off, which makes sure that I don't miss any kind of numbers there. Okay? And also, I'm leaving some nice big spaces, so it ensures that if I miss a number, I can come back and I can squeeze the number in, so I don't have to rewrite it again. Then I count the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and look at that, I'm missing a number, aren't I? Okay. Can you see which number it was? It was the 7, because I was talking and I wasn't paying attention. So see how it's important to always count your numbers at the end to ensure that now I've got 9 numbers on the top, I've got 9 numbers on the bottom, and I'm making sure I'm not missing numbers. Okay, so the median. The median is the middle number when in order. Well, they're in order now, so what I can do is cross 2 off the left-hand side, 2 off the right-hand side, another 2 off the left-hand side, another 2 off the right-hand side, and look at that. I've got 6 in the middle, therefore 6 is my median. The mode is the most common number, and I can see that 6 has occurred 3 times. That is my mode, and the range is the highest score, subtract the lowest score, which gives me a range of 8, and they are my 4 answers. Okay, next question. 7 leaf. Calculate the mode, the range, and the median. Once again, guys, I want you to press pause. I want you to have a crack at these 3 questions here, then press play and see how we get on. All right, welcome back. So let's see how you did. The mode, well, that's the most, remember, MO, the most common number. You can see these 3 zeros, they occur the most times, and they are linked with the 2, which means it is the number 20, which occurred 3 times. The range is the highest number minus the lowest number, which is 48, take away 1. So 48, take away 1, we have a range of 47. And the median is the middle number when placed in order. So let's look at this and we go, okay, they're pretty much in order. So I'm going to cross 1 and 48, 2 and 39, 3 and 32, 15 and 26, 20 and 20. And look at that, I've got that number in the middle, which we know is 20. And look at that, we've got our 3 answers. Okay, last question, guys. Okay, we have a frequency distribution table. Okay, the first column is the score. And often the score, we represent the score by a little x. We then have the frequency, which means how many times that score occurred, and often we call that the F. And then we have this last column, which actually means the frequency multiplied by the score. That's what a little dot means. It means times. Okay, so let's have a look. If the first thing says to complete the table, so fx means the f, which is the 5, times the 0. Well, 5 times 0 is 0. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. And 4 times 4 is 16. Now, you'll notice that there's two little boxes left over. We use this to actually write in what the total of each of those two columns is going to be, because they're quite important. We've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16, and 20. We can just use our calculator to do those. And then, of course, the next one we've got is 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 18 is 26, 32, 42. Alrighty, so that's the first one done. Now, the mode, remember MO means the most common score. Okay, so I'm looking for which of these scores here occurred the most times. Well, we have the 3, he occurred 6 times. So the mode is going to be the score of 3. Don't write the 6 down, because that's not the actual score. Remember, it's the most common score, which is a 3 because it occurred 6 times. The mean. Now remember, the mean, we add up all the scores together and we divide by however many numbers there are. Now this is much harder because I can't actually see all the scores individually. Think about this. We've got 5 lots of 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 2 lots of 1s, 1 and 1. I've got 3 lots of 2s, 2, 2, 2. Now, I do this the whole lot. What I'm going to have to do is plus them all together. But the good thing is, if you notice, what's 5 zeros? 0. 2 1s. 2. 3 2s. 6. What you'll notice, that's why we have the FX column, because it actually adds these numbers together, which means that all the scores added together are actually 42. So I look at the total of the frequency column, that's how many numbers that there were altogether. I can actually divide those together. So it's a quick way to do the mean. So we're doing 42 and we're dividing that again by the 20, and we're going to come up with the answer of 2.1. And again, we can go back to our score, and that looks about right because 2.1 would kind of be in the middle of these scores. And the last one there is the range, which is the highest score, which is 4. Take away the lowest score, which is 0, which means we have a range of 4. Now, there's plenty of stuff there to go through, guys, and you've probably forgotten a bit about it. That's okay. That's why we're looking at a quick review today, and we're going to be doing a bit of a worksheet for you, practicing those things that we've just gone through. So again, in summary, we have our types of averages. We have our mean, where we add all the scores together and divide by however many scores that there are. We have our median, which is the middle score when placed in order. We have our mode, MO, which is our most common score. And we then have our range, which is the highest score minus the lowest score. We also looked at our stem and leaf plot, making sure that when we have our numbers, for example, a 2 and a 1 there would represent 21. And then lastly, we looked at or reviewed, should I say, our frequency distribution tables. Particularly with the mean, that's the more challenging one, which is the total of the FX column divided by the total of the frequency. You might remember Sir last term used this little symbol. It looks like kind of like a fancy E, which actually means the sum of the FX column all over the sum of the frequency column. And we say that's called the mean, which is that little symbol, an X with a line above it. Alright, there's a lot to go through there, guys. Apologies it's gone for 15 minutes. Hopefully you've got some stuff in your books now with the notes from that. I want you to grab the worksheet and have a go at the worksheet and let me know via email if there are any problems. Have an awesome day, guys.